Hello, everyone, and welcome back to SuppTalk Radio. As always, we appreciate you hitting that download button. It's been a very busy year, and my apologies for lack of shows, but onward and upward. So today's conversation will be a little different, as it will not be focused solely on supplements, but rather motivation and inspiration. A few years back, my guest tipped the scales at over 300 pounds. Fast forward now, he weighs in at roughly 170, is a successful men's physique competitor, as well as a Muscle Elements ambassador. We'll talk about his journey, his struggles, and as always, have a great time doing it. Calling in from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, allow me to introduce Logan Miller. Logan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. How you doing?
I am doing well. So I understand you just finished a graveyard shift. You hit the gym, and you're still energized and ready to do this thing.
I am.
So Logan, why don't we start off a little bit? Tell me about your childhood growing up. I mean, were you active? Were you in athletics? Or tell me a little bit about your history growing up.
I mean, I was just like everybody else. I ran around the neighborhood, played sports. We all met up there, on Saturdays to play football at the little park or whatever. I did all that little stuff, but I was also very well into my food.
Okay. So now, what triggered, obviously I've seen pictures and when I released the video here, other people will see pictures and, you're a big boy. Was it just poor eating habits or what kind of led you down that pathway?
That's really actually what it was, just poor eating habits. I stem from a big family, and it's just bad eating habits upon eating habits, and it just kept going and going and I fell into that generation as well.
So living in the South, a lot of fried foods, is it safe to say that, or is that a bad stereotype?
Oh, no, that's definitely not a bad stereotype. I also grew up a little bit in Louisiana, too, so there was Cajun food. So I'm highly addicted to Cajun food, spices and stuff like that as well, too. And then once I got to Kentucky, as you said, fried foods and country food, biscuits and gravy. It just added up.
So now, a weird question. Where exactly is Hopkinsville? I've never heard of that town before.
It's about 5-10 minute drive away from Fort Campbell Army Base.
Small town, mostly military people, or what?
And it's a growing town, actually. It's actually coming up really fast, surprisingly. In the last 10 years, it's boomed up drastically, and it basically is because of the military. I mean, there's quite a few little military families around here now, and it's only getting bigger.
Interesting. So now, fast forward as you get older, Logan. Obviously, the scale started getting the weight started going up. So what point in your life did you say, okay, enough is enough? What triggered you to make a life change?
To be honest, I really had zero interest in working out or any of that, and I was at work one day, just doing my daily thing, and a friend hit me up and was like, "Hey man, what are you doing after work?" I was like, "Not a thing, probably." He's like, "We're over at the gym playing basketball if you want to come play around." And, I was about 15 years old, so I was like, sure, I ain't got nothing else to do. Went to the gym, started playing basketball, and noticed the weight room. Pretty much just did what every other little kid does and went to irritate everybody else trying to do their workout. And just started playing with weight. And all it did is took one time, and I was hooked. I guess just the fact that I couldn't bench press 55 pounds at 320 pounds really caught me off guard, and I was just hooked. I've become addicted ever since.
So obviously,
at the beginning, I had zero interest.
So obviously you started going to the gym. Were you just kind of going in there like all of us green people, just saying, okay, I'm going to go ahead and work on my arms, because I want big biceps, and I'm just going to try to bench press? Or I guess, when did you start getting smart about your workouts?
It took a little bit, honestly, because I did. I went in there with the mindset of just went in there and I was just going around everywhere. I wanted instant results. So, I'd go to work 13 hours a day and then still try to go kill a 2-hour workout at the same time. I just wanted my instant results.
So now from that point, how often were you in the gym?
Oh, daily, every single day, 7 days a week. I was going about it clearly the wrong way, but it was hooked, and like I said, I wanted them instant results.
But now, were you seeing those results? I mean, were things getting bigger? Was your waist getting smaller, or what? I mean, what did you do to start leading yourself smarter, I guess?
Oh yeah, it was actually kind of crazy. It's like I woke up one day, looked at myself in the mirror, and just saw a completely different person. And it matter of I lost my weight way too fast because I went, like I said, I went about it the wrong way. You know, working long shifts and then going to the gym. Like I said, and I had no idea about nutrition, so I'd still go home and eat my nachos and cheese or something. So I was pretty much just tearing my body apart at the same time I was trying to fix it. So the results did come quick, but they come at a slight little cost because now I'm trying to play catch up a little bit.
So were you actually losing weight, or were you just kind of building muscle, or, you know, in the middle of the fat, I guess, or what?
Oh, I was just losing weight like crazy. Like the weight was just falling off. Like didn't matter what I did, what I ate or anything. Because at that point, I guess it was just activity level. I was just so far downhill. All I had to do was get up and do something, and the weight just fell off. It was like I probably lost about a good 80 pounds in 2.5 months.
So were you, I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, like, joking around, you eat your nachos and stuff, but were you starving yourself, or was it just all strictly exercise at the gym that was doing this?
I definitely wasn't starving myself. It was, I guess, like I said, it was just my activity level was so low before I started going to the gym that when I actually started going, it didn't matter. I mean, like I said, nachos and cheese, pizza, McDonald's still, and it doesn't matter what it was. I guess my activity level was just so drastically diminished at that point. All I had to do was get up and move, and I was literally just dropping weight, even at the point of eating whatever. It was kind of crazy. It caught me off guard.
So
But
now,
I guess it was because my activity level was so gone.
So now, obviously, like everybody, you go to the doctor. Is your cholesterol in check? Is your doctor kind of pushing you from behind, saying, "Hey, look, you know, we got to start moving better here," or what?
Well, I never had any bad readings or anything, honestly, you know, because I was a kid, you know, going in there overweight. So, you know, doctor really didn't want to hurt your feelings or anything. So he's trying to be nice. He goes, you know, you're getting a little heavy. You might want to, you know, start working towards a different direction. But, you know, like coming from a big family, I just nodded and shrugged out. Yes, sir. Okay. Sure. You know.
So now the weight's coming off. Are you getting support from your family, or is it just more of, look, I'm going to be different here, and I'm going to be the lean kid in the family?
It was actually kind of wild. My family, I come from a truck driving family as well too, so that doesn't help, you know, sitting down all day long after eating and stuff like that. So I come from a truck driving family, so I was pretty much at home by myself. It was just me and my brothers, and my parents would be gone for weeks at a time. So when they come home, I was just a skinny person. They left, I was big. When they come home 2 months later, I was a skinny person. So I really didn't have my only support really was just the mirror, I guess, really. I mean, nobody was against it or anything, but nobody was like, yeah, man, keep going. You're doing great. It was just like, wow, you lost weight.
So were mom and dad worried at all? Did I guess we were able to convince them it was the gym and they didn't think you were sick or anything?
Oh, no, they didn't think I was sick. I mean, don't get me wrong. They were just like, whoa, what did you do when they finally come home that day? And I was explaining to them. I was just like, hey, I just been going to the gym. And don't get me wrong, mom's bought the food, so she know I was eating.
So now, at what point during your journey do you really start saying, wow, you know, I'm really looking good, I'm feeling good, you know, I'm digging this? I mean, at what point do you say, wow, this is working out well for me?
I'm going to say it's probably whenever I hit about 225. I hit about 225, and I was just like really, and that's whenever the nutrition and supplementation really started coming into play, and that's whenever everything just started. The body recomposition really started coming into play was when I started adding my supplements and everything, and just working on nutrition. Because, you know, nachos and cheese after a workout's not going to help you recover properly.
Sure. So now, how did you learn about the nutrition aspect? Just reading? Did you have friends that were, you know, healthy kind of guys, or what?
Muscle magazines. Easiest way to go about it. Muscle mag. Muscle development, muscle magazines, and a lot of internet readings. Yes, sir.
But now, let's face it, though, a lot of this stuff, because, you know, I'm a little bit older than you, but, you know, back in the days, I followed a lot of stuff in the magazines, and you look at the diets and stuff, but let's face it, you and I were smaller guys, okay, and a lot of these diets are geared for, you know, the 250, 260-pound people that are doing 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 calories. Were you smart enough to know, okay, not to eat that much, or were you still learning?
I was still learning. Don't get me wrong. I'd sit there. As much as I ate of the bad food, it really wasn't kind of too hard to eat as much as the good food, you know, because I was constantly shoving so much food in my stomach anyway. But man.
So now, but did you find it hard though, saying, okay, look, I can have this, this fried chicken sandwich, I can have this hamburger, or I can have this, this grilled steak, grilled chicken, and rice?
Yeah, it was definitely hard until I started seeing the results. Actually, I mean, once I started seeing the result, it was actually kind of easy to start dropping stuff off my diet. I wanted to start throwing stuff out of my diet just so I get results faster. Like once I started seeing a little vein pop up in my bicep or something, I was just like, man, I gotta go ahead and get rid of this cake on Tuesday, or you know what, I'm not gonna have my nachos this time, or and then I actually would. I'm like, all right, well if Ronnie Coleman's eating 20 ounces of chicken after his meal, I mean, I might be able to I'm just going to have me some chicken this time or something like that.
Okay. So now, were you, at that point, were you buying your own food, or were you able to convince mom and dad, hey, look, let's get a couple more healthy things in the cabinet here?
Luckily, I was able to convince mom and dad. I mean, we come from a big family, but I mean, they were very, very, very stoked to see that I lost weight, and they still are. I mean, now, my family's even starting to jump on the bandwagon, which is awesome. So, I mean, they were stoked about it. So it really wasn't too hard to get her to buy me healthy foods. But the problem was my brothers, they didn't care at the time, so she was having to buy me my healthy food, and then buy them their bags of nachos and cheese still. So she had to play a double-edged sword. So I really, 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 really got to give my thanks to my parents on that one. I've got to. They dished out quite a bit to help me out on the very beginning of this.
How many brothers do you have?
I've got 2 older brothers. I'm the baby.
But now, was it hard to overcome? Because I'm sure you're probably getting ridiculed. Oh yeah, have your chicken and rice again. Well, I'm gonna have my good stuff. I mean, was it hard to overcome that? Because let's face it, being the baby, I'm sure you're getting verbally abused left and right.
Oh yeah. It's like you sitting there just making your little crack jokes about, oh, you're gonna become a little girl or something like that, while they're sitting over there with their big old cheeseburgers or something, and I've got flank steak and asparagus.
Oh man.
Yeah, they were always there to give me some little hassle about it, but I look forward to it because now they're coming to me for advice.
Well, I was just going to ask you that if they're saying, okay, look, all those years of picking on you, now look at this guy. He's got a 6-pack. He's ripped. He's shredded. If they're changing their tune a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, they were never really overly mean about it. So like now, and now they're just like, well, what can I do? And I'm like, go grab that flank steak and asparagus and become a girl.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So now progress is coming. As you said, you're getting those veins in your biceps. You're starting to, see abs and everything else. I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit here. Now, what point did you decide, hell, I'm going to go ahead and compete now?
Oh, I mean, I'll sit there looking in the magazines, like I said before, because that was where I've all first started, and the thought of competing really, really, really never crossed my mind until I got into the gym that I'm at now, my little powerhouse gym, Atlas. And the owner of the gym there, I've got to give him credit too. He's helped me out drastically. Like, I've never had any interest in wanting to compete. And then this dude right here, I guess I don't know if he noticed me when I just seen something in me when I walked through the door, but man started talking to me and got it in my mind, and just one thing led to another, and being at that gym on top of everything just got me in that mindset that I was like, man, I think I can do this.
So now,
but I mean, at the very beginning, I had zero interest in competing. I never even thought I'd have an ab, let alone a 6-pack.
So now you go ahead. What'd you say? You hate 6-packs?
No, I said I ate 6-packs whenever I was little. I'd never imagined I'd even be able to, have a 6-pack, let alone compete. So I never had any interest in it until I walked in that gym, and I guess he just seen something in me, and he threw that thought in my head, and then boom, I just got a drive in me.
So now he's got that little bug in your ear chirping, hey, you need to compete. What made you? Let me back up here, because I used to compete bodybuilding. So this whole physique competitor thing is kind of new to me. So what made you choose going down physique versus, as I say, putting on the Speedos and oiling up?
I love the aesthetic look, the rippedness. I don't want to I've said it before. I don't care if I'm 300 pounds. I just want to be ripped. Was where my main mindset of it all, But of course, I don't want to be 300 pounds anyway. That's just, I wouldn't want to try to eat that much now, but but I just love the aesthetic look, you know, the leanness, the V taper. I'm not really for all the, be honest, with the distended guts, and the bodybuilding nowadays just doesn't attract me no more. And that's, now it's, be honest, the classic physique is where it's at, honestly. I wouldn't mind getting into that division a little bit. That's nice, you know, it's not overly big, but it's definitely not small either.
So walk me through, because I'm still, to be honest, I'm still learning what the physique. I understand what the physiques are with the board shorts and everything, but it's. I mean, what is it basically? You do 3 poses, or walk myself and the listeners through exactly what transpires at a physique show.
Glamour. Who's the pretty boy? Who's the prettiest one up there is really all it is. You got about 3 poses, and you're really all just going up there to see who's the prettiest one, more or less. It's like bodybuilders. They'll tell us about all that physique is a pretty boy contest.
But now, do you ever get a chance to go out solo, or are you always in a lineup with people?
When I very first did it, we went out solo. We done our little quarter turns and stuff like that, and flexed our back, and then we went out as a group.
Okay. And when was your first show?
July 4th. No, I'm sorry, July 9th of this year.
Really? So how far prior were you ready to step? Were you almost ready to step on stage, or did you have to take that diet and food intake to now another level to become even more shredded?
I definitely had to take my diet to a new level. I mean, I was sitting at I wasn't over, you know, I wasn't under lean. I was sitting at probably about a good 185 pounds. You know, I had a little bit of body fat around me, you know, stuff like that. And then, it took me about a good 12 weeks to diet. I dieted for 12 weeks. So when I went in there, he told me, he goes, when you get to that 12-week mark, we're going to start your diet. And I was like, all right. So, I mean, the dude knew exactly how long out I needed to start it and everything. So, like I said, I definitely got to give my props to the owner of the gym. I walked in and he just knew. He goes, 12 weeks, you come talk to me and we're going to start your diet. And I was like, all right.
Now, Logan, is physique based on weight? Is it based on height, or what is it? What are the classes based on?
This is just weight. They do have height classes, but it's more, well, I guess, man. Like I said, this is just my first show, so I'm still in the learning process as well. So I'm gonna go ahead on and say, a height class is probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say height class. Like I said, I'm still trying to learn the process as well myself.
So now you do your first show. How did you place?
I placed 4th. I was happy about it. Do I know?
That's a really good. I was gonna say that's a really good showing, my man.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, I was definitely stoked about it. And of course, you always want a little bit more, definitely. But I was definitely happy with it.
So now, if you don't mind, I want to walk down a little bit for myself and the listeners. You know, obviously, I'm going to say you're kind of off season. We'll use that hand quote that always is very popular with people off season. Obviously, you're still lean because I've seen pictures, so you're not letting yourself go. But now, what is your meals like? Because I know you work those 12-hour shifts. Are you trying to eat every 4 hours, or what are your meals like?
Normally it's actually every 3. Actually, working the 12-hour shift right now kind of falls pretty good because I get break every 3 hours. So my meals normally would fall about every 2.5, 3 hours. So now it's every 3. And, like I said, I get my break every 3 hours. So as soon as I get my break, I'll go in there, grab my meal, throw it in the microwave, chow down, and go back in there and kill it again. So about every 3 hours, I get my meal in.
So now, what would you eat for, you know, if you don't mind me sharing some of your secrets, not to give away the whole cart here, but let's say, what would you eat for breakfast? Because I know you're on a graveyard shift, so I don't know what breakfast is for the typical person, but what would you eat for breakfast?
Well, if I woke up, say, about 5 o'clock or something like that, I'd normally, like I said, it would be my breakfast time, so I'd probably go ahead on and grab my eggs and my oats, and my truth, mix it up in there and make me some no-bake oatmeal with some eggs in the morning.
And how many eggs would you generally have?
Depending on how bad my belly was growling in the morning. Now, if I was actually dieting, I'd have my set, 8 to 10 ounces of egg whites with 1 or 2 whole eggs. But if I'm not dieting, like I said, I normally don't measure anything like that. I might normally never over 6 eggs.
Okay. That's kind of like how I am. Like you said, I go anywhere between 4 and 6 myself, and sometimes I'll throw in a yolk or 2. and then just some oatmeal, and then just like yourself, I'll throw in some protein powder, maybe whatever berries are in season, just to kind of give a little bit of flavor to it. Now, what about the rest of your meals? Are you kind of one of those guys that eats the same thing every day, or what do the rest of your meals look like?
Whenever I'm on my diet, it's variety. That way I don't get used to anything. But when I'm not on my diet, I like to try to keep it simple. So I might just, spend two or 3 days of the same thing over and over again. I'll wake up, have my eggs and my oats and, a little protein. And then my next meal will usually be very low carb or something like that. I have a, nice amount of protein with some fats, normally low carb because I've got a little bit of a break before I'm actually overly exerting myself. Now, lunchtime, after being at work for 6 hours, is definitely high protein, high carb meal, so I can replenish for the last 6 hours and then go for the next 6.
Gotcha.
And then after my third break will also normally be a low carb meal, high protein, of course, and high fats. And then right before I get off work at 7 o'clock, I'll definitely carb up before I go to the gym.
So do you count calories either on or off season?
No, not normally. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll look at the box just to get a rough guesstimate, but as far as counting calories, I don't think I've ever counted them, like, legitly. I mean, I've, added them up roughly. I've got about 2,500 calories or something like that this day, but I've never actually wrote it down on paper and stuck to it, surprisingly. And actually, which is, I think it's kind of helped me out a little bit, because, counting calories and everything like that gets druggy, just starts to get to you. It gets old after a little while. For me to be able to, have the diet plan, like I said, which also, like I said, I got to give my props to the gym owner for hooking me up with the diet. I don't have to count my calories, don't have to count my macros. He killed all of it for me. All I had to do was eat. Eat what he told me to and train.
That's the best type, man. That's how I was back in the day. I had a guy that said, eat this, eat it when, and I'll see you in the gym later, which is perfect.
Exactly. Like I said, I've definitely got to give my props where it's due. So, all he told me to do, because if you eat what I tell you to, you'll be where you need to be. And I was like, yes, sir. I can definitely follow directions.
So now, do you eat clean, or do you bad once in a while? Do you treat yourself to ice cream or pizza or whatever it is, or do you really strictly on target all the time?
I definitely have my little splurges. I mean, don't get me wrong, my 15-year-old will come out to play every now and then. My Chinese restaurant self or something like that will come out and want to get his time out to play. So there's definitely times I'm just like, man, I'm just gonna go ahead and enjoy myself, which is mainly what it's all about. I mean, if you live an overly strict lifestyle, you lose enjoyment.
Yep. And what are your workouts like? Are you a high rep, low rep, high weight? What are your workouts like?
I'll try to do actually I'm working on a program right now. It's power and hypertrophy. I'll have a 1 day low reps, high weight, and then the next 2 or 3 days after that I'll do a high reps, low weight. So I normally kill pretty much both things in the same week. I have a power day and then a hypertrophy day.
And how often do you generally train a body part in a week?
About once every 3 days. With the program that I'm on now, it's pretty much a upper lower day. So I have my upper, rest, lower, rest, upper, something like that. So I normally kill a body part twice a week, every 3 days roughly.
Now, do you work all body parts, or do you do generally the bigger ones because the smaller ones will generally follow type of thing?
I'll go ahead and do my little power program. I'll do my main compound lifts, of course, my deadlifts, my squats, my rows, and then I'll, of course, throw in my accessory list on high reps and stuff like that. Most of my complexes are definitely power.
Gotcha. So now, Logan, what do you think is the biggest, if you had to put it down, do you think, food intake is more important? Do you think exercise is more important? Because some people always say that to diet, I don't like to use the word diet, because diets are always scary for people. I like to use the word food choices or food intake. Do you think that one outweighs the other, or is it kind of truly a 50-50 in your mind?
Well, man, that's actually pretty good right there. Man, I'd honestly have to say I would have to say diet would outweigh training. I mean, because if you could train all day long, but if you keep going to McDonald's and stuff like that, it's eventually going to show, no matter how hard you train. But then again, even if you don't work out but eat right, you can still change your body. So I'm going to have to say diet probably plays a little bit more of an important role than training will, because you can change your body just by dieting or eating, making proper choices, you know, but you can also train all day long, eat bad choices, and not make results. So I'd have to say diet probably outweigh, or food choices outweigh it a little bit more than training itself. But they both definitely play a pivotal role.
And I didn't ask you, what is your cardio sessions like, or do you do cardio?
What's that? Nah. And I do cardio. Actually, I'm not one that's against cardio. I like cardio, surprisingly. I don't mind running, walking, stair steppers. Surprisingly, none of that stuff bothers me. So now when I'm dieting or when I'm getting ready for a show, I'll definitely do way more cardio than I am now. Like right now, I haven't done cardio in probably about a good month.
Okay. And do you believe in fasted cardio at all?
Oh yeah. Definitely. When I was preparing for my show, I would definitely get me about a good 45 minutes to an hour of fasted cardio in the morning when it got closer time for the show. But I never did it. It was never fully fasted. Let me rephrase that. Never fully fasted, because I'd always get my BCAAs before I started. Never would I ever try to do my cardio without my BCAAs.
Did you ever? I know it sounds like you're pretty lean going into your shows, but did you ever have to do 2 a days of cardio?
I did. I'd do my little fasted cardio in the morning for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then after my session, I would normally get about 15 to 20 minutes on the stair stepper. But after my workout, my cardio would kind of be like, moderate, because I just killed my workout and stuff like that. So it'd be just roughly about 20 minutes on the stair stepper or something like that.
Now, is that just by choice, or is that something maybe to work the hams or calves, or is it just the machine you like?
It's pretty much by choice, honestly, because, how many times have you ever seen somebody on a stair stepper for even more than a minute and not dying?
Yeah, no, good point. I know I'm a big Ty Green fan, and you see him. That's his choice, and his machine. I don't know how it runs, because it's always just dripping in sweat, or bodybuilders and stuff. So it's always interesting. So let's talk for a minute here, because you and I both know each other from the Muscle Elements Network. I guess how did you come across those guys? How did you hook up with them?
That was actually kind of cool. A cool little story. Me and my buddy were at work one day, and we had a little bit of break at work, so we were just browsing through the phone, and we ran across this Facebook website that was talking about free supplement samples. And all they had a bunch of little websites that popped up here, and all you had to do was email the company, just send them, your email information, and they would send you companies. And I got a couple of those samples, QNT, Optimum Nutrition, and of course I emailed Muscle Elements one day, and they sent me some samples of some pre-Cree, and it was 1.5 size serving sample bags, and I got to be honest with you, I took this little sample pack and I split it up into 4 servings. This little sample pack, I would split into 4 servings at one time. And I was like, man, this stuff is just unrealistic. I was like, like I said, I had the QNT, the Optimum Nutrition. And then when I ran across Muscle Elements, I was just like, man, I can't even take the proper dose of this stuff. I got to cut it in half.
Just too much caffeine, or what exactly?
No, I don't guess it was just too much caffeine, because I would still take my 200 milligram caffeine tablets or something like that. It was just, I don't know. It's just, their ingredient profile is just unrealistic. It's just everything the beta-alanine on top of the creatine. It's just everything. Just the way they mixed it all together was just it's insane, honestly.
So you go ahead and try a sample, and then what's the next step from there?
Once I tried the sample, it was hooked. I was just like, I got to figure out where I can buy this stuff. So once I got the sample, I emailed them back, and I was just like, man, where can I buy this stuff? Because I've never heard of the company before, and never seen them at the websites or supplement stores or anything like that before. They just branched out, and I guess I just caught them when they were opening the door. I emailed them. I was like, where can I get some of this stuff at? And I emailed me back, and I've been buying it ever since. I was using the products for every bit of a little over a year before I even got hooked up with the company.
Interesting.
I definitely hooked on their products way before I was ever affiliated with them.
So obviously you become an avid user. So now how do you become an ambassador or I guess a sponsored athlete by them?
Oh, and it's I was never into the social media stuff. Honestly, 17 friends on Facebook, and I knew 16 of them. So I was never into any of this stuff. So, I started using browsing Instagram and seeing what everybody was doing. So I'd start taking my pre-create, and I'd shoot a picture with it, trying to do like everybody else was, with my little hashtags and stuff like that. Doing all that for a year. And slowly, with the hashtags, Muscle Element started liking the pictures and stuff like that. And I was just like, man, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And I was like, man, this company's actually liking my pictures. I was like, that's kind of cool. And, they sent out a little thing where they were looking for ambassadors. And I was just like, I'm just going to shoot this in the wind. I love this company. I've actually gotten stellar results off their products. So I was like, I'm just going to shoot it in the wind. And I sent them my email, my bio and everything when they were looking for ambassadors. And the day they hit me up and said, we're choosing you for an ambassador, that was like one of my biggest motivation boosts in my fitness career, honestly.
Was it almost surreal that, looking at, however much time, a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, you were over 300 pounds. Now I look like an athlete, I feel like an athlete, and the icing on the cake is a supplement company wanted to kind of sponsor me. I'm sure it was probably surreal for you.
Oh, man. Yeah, honestly, no idea. Like I said, I'm not used to any of this stuff. So, like I said, the fact that the company even liked a picture for me was absolutely unsurreal. Like I said, I come from a little small town. I'm not used to attention. I'm not used to any of it. And then, like I said, this company come out the blue and actually, noticed me. Oh, yeah, it was absolutely unsurreal. It was the farthest thing that I've ever imagined, to be honest with you.
So now when you're in the gym, I've seen pictures and you always have something representing the company. Are people always kind of interrupting you? Hey, man, you look good. What are you on, kind of thing?
They do. And surprisingly, that
okay, let me
I never thought I would invite that. Do I know?
Yeah. I used the wrong term. I said, what are you on? I should have said, what are you using? What are you on is the wrong connotation.
Yeah, they do. I'll be sitting there, doing and at first I never thought I would actually invite it. Getting interrupted during your workout, who really, invites that? But, honestly, they, and I never thought I would. I would never thought I would invite it, but they would. They're like, man, you look great, man. What are you taking? What are you using? And I'm stuff like that. And all I can do, the only thing I can do is flip down the brim of my hat and just show them that Muscle Elements logo. That's the only thing I can do is like, man, this right here is it. I was like, don't get me wrong. I eat right. I follow a diet. But, as far as everything goes, I'll chug this drink when I walk through the door, and you see what happens. So all I do is I'll flip the brim of my hat, and I'll show them that Muscle Elements logo.
So now, do a lot of people at the gym know where you started from? Do you ever show them pictures on your phone or anything saying, look, you can do this. I did it. I came from here to there. Do you ever get that much in depth?
Yeah, for a couple of them, yeah. When I very first started, like I said, now I go into the gym, and like I said, and I'm caught off guard by all of it. Now I go into the gym, and people will just stop and talk and say hi. And before, I would just be like, I was just like anybody else, and I'd go into the gym, and they was just like, hey, here's another guy coming to work out. They were just like, now, they will. They'll come up to me and be like, hey, man, what, this or this or this, or what can I do for this or this or this? And it's catching me off guard. I'm not used to the attention.
Like you and I said offline, you come across a very down-to-earth, humble guy. So I know it hasn't gone to your head. I know it won't go to your head. But again, it's got to be a great feeling, and it sounds like it is.
It is. Like I said, and it's the farthest thing that I'm used to, and I don't ever see it really going to my head because like I said, I don't ever think I'll get used to it, honestly, because of the fact that people come up to me and goes, oh, you know him? I'm like, you know him or something like that? And I'm just like, yeah, I don't ever think I'll get used to it.
So, Logan, what advice do you have for somebody that, I don't know if you're comfortable giving advice for somebody that, says I can't do it, or let's say that they're overweight, what advice can you give to people?
Man, I guess, because, everybody does it. I still do it. It's not so much, it's not so much that, okay, I can't do it on the thing. But I still, to this day, I'm still like, man, I don't know if I can do that. It might not be, the working out aspect or something like that, but it might just be, even some at job, I'm like, man, I can't do that. And but hold on. Yeah, I can. I just lost 150 pounds, or just this. I'm like, hold on, I can do that. I'm still, to this day, I'll sit there and tell myself, man, there ain't no way I'm going to be able to do that. But then again, I thought about what I've already done. And I'm like, nah, ain't nothing going to be able to stop me now. I was like, look at what you've already done. Ain't nothing going to be able to stop you from keep going.
Do you ever have in the back of it, and I want to be respectful here, Logan, do you ever have in the back of your mind that you might regress? Or are you so far down that road that it's never that's the history and it's going to stay in the past?
Do I ever think that it can never come back?
Yeah.
No, I mean, no, I know, honestly, anything could happen. So I try to stay humble about it because I know if I was there once, I can definitely go back down that road again. So I try to stay humble about it and try to stay on track with it because I know anything's possible and I can always fall back down that thing. So I don't know. I guess I just try to stay humble about it, I guess. Don't ever try to become over myself because I know, if you ever try to put somebody else down, like I said, I've been down that road before, so I never want to, try to put anybody down because I know I can fall right back down that road again. Something could go wrong and I could fall right back down that road again. So I like to try to stay humble about it. Never let nothing go to my head.
You stay to your roots, and again, I've said this over and over. You're a success story because and I hate to say this, there's two types of people. There's people that acknowledge that there's a problem, whether it's they don't like their job, whether they're overweight or whatever, and they stay in that same rut. And there's other people that acknowledge the problem and they take it in, and now they go ahead and address the issue. Again, whether it's, okay, my job sucks, so they go out and get a brand new job, or, in your case, I'm 150 pounds overweight. I'm going to change my life and I'm going to do something good. And again, I'm fired up, man, because I'm just really, really excited for you, man, and I will continue to watch your journey.
Man, I appreciate it, honestly.
But, it's been a fantastic conversation, Logan. I want to open the floor to you. I mean, I'm sure there's people you want to thank, in winding down. Where can people learn about you, follow your pictures, follow your journey?
Man, I really, to begin my thanks, man, I don't even know if we've got enough time. Like I said in the beginning of the conversation, as much as my parents have helped me out with everybody knows how expensive food is. I mean, the dollar menu is not even a dollar menu anymore. So, as much as they've helped me out with the food aspect, because, of course, the food's probably the most expensive part of it all. So, I definitely, absolutely got to show my love for my parents, because they come, like I said, they come home, they see me one day, and then they just started buying me my healthy food on top of buying my brothers their unhealthy food. So they're sitting there dishing out a double-edged sword. They're dishing out two things at one time. So, my parents, they played probably one of the biggest roles in the whole thing. Like you said, supplying me with my food. And then, man, like I said, when I walked into the gym and the owner of the gym seen me, hooked me up with my diet. So, I don't have enough time to say thanks to everybody. And, of course, Muscle Elements. Even give me the opportunity to become ambassador for them. Like I said, my biggest motivation boost and the progress that I've got off this company is just unrealistic. It's just absolutely unrealistic. And I can't spread the word fast enough. Anybody asks me, like you said, hey, what are you taking? Boom. I'll flip the brim of that hat and I'll throw it at them. Muscle Elements. Boom. So I cannot express my gratitude enough for Muscle Elements and give me the opportunity to even be an ambassador for them and be able to spread the good word for them. Is its biggest motivation I think I've ever had.
And what about social media? Where can people follow you?
On my Instagram account, they can definitely follow me at Hoptown Muscle. Definitely check out my day-to-day. So, of course, I'll post my fitness stuff on there, but also I like to post my little daily lifestyle to, just see what's going on. Hey, what are you doing today? I'm like, there's a little football game or something, stuff like that. So you can definitely follow me at Hoptown Muscle. And my Facebook account's just regular plain Logan Miller, plain Jane. Nothing fancy. But you can definitely check me out on Facebook at Logan Miller and Instagram at Hoptown Muscle.
Anything else in closing, Logan?
Man, I don't really know, honestly. I don't really know.
No, and that's good. But anyway, folks, I would appreciate everybody for taking time to listen to this episode today with Logan Miller. As you can see, he's probably one of the most humblest guys you'll ever meet. Can't say enough about him. He is living proof that you can change your life and better yourself. Make sure that you download this episode on iTunes as well as YouTube. And as always, we appreciate you hitting that download button. Have a great day and have a great week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.